What's up people, it's Wasabi and I'm back with another review. And today we have the SWAT X by WLMOUSE. Now, this product's not sponsored, got this one out of curiosity, and I like to have a balance of collab reviews, my personal purchases, and topic videos on my channel to keep things interesting for my viewers. Now before we get on with the review, here's a quick look at the packaging because that's what you pay for too. First you got the mouse itself. This is the white colorway, an 8K wireless receiver, a USB wireless receiver as well, braided USB-C cable, very nice and bendy, extra set of PTFE skates, white grip tapes and black grip tapes as well, 2 alcohol pads, and a set of universal grip tapes. And that's pretty much all that's included inside the box. Now before we go any further, let's manage some expectations here real quick. Today we have the first ergonomic mouse from WLMOUSE, who are famously known for the Beast X, which is by far the most popular magnesium mouse. It is quite an interesting release because there are not many magnesium ergonomic mice on the market, and the SWAT X has what I would describe as a theme design going on, which to my surprise looks pretty good in person. And this SWAT X is available for a price of $155. For a theme mouse design like this, it's wonderfully done. Many people don't like the feel of holes on the sides and they compensate by using grip tapes, while on the other hand there are some people, including myself, who try to avoid using grip tapes as much as possible because we want to enjoy the full design of the mouse. And if you notice, even though the mouse has a lot of cutouts in the body, the sides where you place your fingers are solid. I feel like the design of SWAT X offers a good balance of holes for weight reduction and the comfort in your palm. Also, if you look at the bottom of the mouse, you'll notice that the design of the PCB follows the SWAT cutout, which is very clever and makes the mouse look hollow. The build quality of the SWAT X is excellent. Mouse buttons and side buttons are very well fitted in, except for the scroll wheel, which unfortunately doesn't feel as good as all the other parts. It's not terrible, but it does stand out enough to mention. There's no creaking or flex on all sides of my unit. It feels incredibly strong despite the many holes in the body. Even the base, which is plastic, feels thick, and you should never have a problem with breaking it unless you intentionally apply a lot of pressure against it. Now, before I go into more detail with the shape and how it feels from my experience, to put things into perspective, my hand size is 17.5 by 9. The grooves on the mouse buttons makes your fingers feel well positioned. You got a nice ergonomic shape going on here. It's not aggressively angled, not too high and not too relaxed with the hump, which gives you a balance of ergonomic comfort and freedom of grip styles you can use. For an ergonomic shape, the front of the mouse is on the thinner side and does not flare out as much as some of the other popular ergo shapes. If you grip your mouse with your ring and pinky fingers extended, this will feel quite comfortable, and the narrow front design lets you have a firm hold on the mouse and makes it feel very controllable. As for how the holes feel in my hand, they're not as noticeable as you might imagine. The only thing that stands out when gripping the mouse is this part right here. That's where I feel the fleshy part of my palm sinks into the hole. It's a small detail just to share. I like how the spine, or in other words the SWAT, runs down the back and feels good in your palm. Overall, this is a shape that I feel has a good balance of ergonomic comfort and control. Now this part is a reference to help people visualize the different grip styles on the SWAT X with reference to my hand size. With my hand size of 17.5 by 9, I use a claw or relaxed claw grip. An aggressive claw grip on this mouse is a bit too much of an angle and doesn't feel very comfortable. For the palm grip, I do not use it as much on this mouse because I prefer using a palm grip on an ergo with a higher hump and a wider front, because then it feels the most natural with my hand. Almost sort of like resting your hand on the mouse. The shape of the SWAT X here feels a lot thinner in the front, which when I grip the sides, it feels much better with a claw grip. For the fingertip grip, it's not a grip style I would use with an ergonomic shape, especially not one of this size, because the rear peeks out towards the left and doesn't leave much room to maneuver with my hand size. You can try to use a fingertip grip style if you have larger hands, but for that grip style, there are other options that you'll find a lot more suitable for that purpose. Stated weight on the website is 47 plus minus 2 grams, and on my unit with the skates that it comes with, it weighs in at 49.6 grams. The coating feels very much like an e-white coating on an aluminum keyboard case, and you get a decent amount of grip. It's not as much grip as I would have liked, but because of the somewhat narrow front end of the mouse, I got a very firm hold. With the SWORD X, you have the option for Omron Optical switches or TTC transparent black dots. I went with Omron Opticals, and here the experience is different from what I expected, but in a surprisingly good way. There is a lot more weight to the clicks compared to Omron Opticals I've experienced in other mice. I wouldn't say that these are optimal for spamming, but they do feel very good for a magnesium build like this. There's like zero pre-travel and a little bit of post-travel towards the end. I don't know what they did to it, but for some reason the clicks for this mouse with Omron Optical switches feel so satisfying for me. Very tactile, and you get a somewhat rounded off thud when they bottom out, and very quick with the rebound. The clicks are the most surprising thing when I first used it, and I enjoy it very much. And on my crispy meter, I will put them right about here. You got Omron blue dot switches under the side buttons that feel bright and crispy. Pre-travel is almost non-existent, and just a little bit of post-travel, so bottoming out the switches don't feel too dry. You get decent grip from the rubber insert on the scroll wheel. The scrolling experience feels like there's a lot of dampening, and I don't want to say that it's muddy, but it's the best way to describe it. I wouldn't say it's a bad thing though, because some people enjoy the dampened scroll experience, but for me I would prefer it if it were to be a little snappier and more distinct between notches. It reminds me of the scroll experience of a GPX Superlight 2. It's soft with a decent amount of tension. Scroll clicks are very light and very easy to press, but they're not very satisfying. It doesn't feel like a cheap scroll wheel, but it's not quite what you'd expect when everything else about the mouse feels so good. Now here's a quick sound test to give you a better idea of how the buttons and the scroll wheel sounds. The SWORD X has a PAW3950 HS sensor. The sensor has been working great. I didn't have any issues with tracking. For me, I'm still good with a PAW3395 sensor because those work brilliantly, and I don't feel the difference between the two with my experience. But you know, with how quickly tech is progressing, it's nice to future-proof what you get today with the latest, even though it's a minor upgrade. But I wouldn't say it's a big enough reason to upgrade if your mouse is still working fine. The software lets you set up the 3 profiles, select your wireless polling rate up to 8000 Hz. You have 6 DPI presets, and you have the option to adjust the DPI values of the X and Y axis individually. You can also adjust the debounce time setting, and because this has a PAW3950 sensor, you got 3 LOD settings, 0.7mm, which is very low, 1mm, which is what I use with most mice today, and you have 2mm as an option as well. You got motion sync and high speed mode, and on the SWORD X, you got 5 programmable buttons. Also, you got a page to set up your macros and a lighting page for the RGBs on your 8K receiver. Connectivity wise, you can use this mouse wirelessly up to 8000 Hz right out of the box. It's got the basic USB wireless receiver and this high polling rate receiver, which is pretty cool because it has 3 buttons for you to cycle through the polling rate, the DPI, and the liftoff distance. It's an interesting idea, but it's not as user-friendly as you think. For example, if you're cycling through the DPI, it only tells you based on the color of the light inside the mouse and not on the receiver itself. The SWORD X comes fitted with a lithium-ion 300 mAh battery. There is no information for the number of hours that you get based on the polling rate, but from my experience with motion sync and high-speed mode off, using it at 1000 Hz polling rate with general use should get you through the week. Though I feel 2000 Hz is a good balance of polling rate performance and battery life. Anything higher, especially 8000 Hz, drains very quickly, which is usually the case with most gaming mice today. The skates are okay, they are a little scratchy from the get-go, but smoothen out over time of course, which most casual gamers should be more than happy with. However, I must say that this is a mouse I would not recommend if you use extra soft pads. Tried this on my Audison Zero Extra Soft and the base of the mouse kept rubbing against the pad. Because of the design on the bottom of the mouse, it's fixed with these corner skates, so there's no option to use wide skates. If you have very soft pads and you would like to use this mouse as your main, you probably should consider getting a firmer pad. This is a very interesting release from WLMOUSE. mouse and honestly quite refreshing with the experience. It's a brand new Magnesium Ergonomic mouse with the latest sensor and Omron Optical switches which feel really good. For me, I use ergonomic mice more for casual gaming and work, and this one really stands out with how it looks on my desk. Many people have loved the Beast X, and with the release of the Sword X, it's a great addition to their product lineup for ergonomic mouse users to experience all that the brand has to offer. Aside from the skate design and how the scroll wheel feels, I think this is a great take on a lightweight Magnesium Ergonomic mouse. So in conclusion, what are 3 things I like about this mouse? First is the build quality for the price, and it feels very well put together. The second thing is how the clicks feel in mouse buttons 1 and 2. I like them a lot, and I think they are very fitting for a Magnesium Ergo build. The third thing is the design. Well, for me, it's not the design I would enjoy using as my main because it's a little too shouty with how it looks. But for a theme design mouse though, which is not easy to do, especially with this many details on the mouse if you look closely, it's pretty impressive. Now, what are 3 things I feel could be improved with this mouse? First, I would suggest that the dongle changes colors as well based on the DPI setting instead of only the mouse, so you don't have to look at your mouse separately. The second thing is a web-based software would be very nice to see. I'm pretty sure that they are working on it because lots of brands are releasing new mice along with web-based software, so that's something I look forward to. And the last thing is that the skate area on the base is limited to corner skates or aftermarket dot skates. I would like to see how they can find a solution to have a wider skate area in the base design with the next version, so users have more options to use different skate combinations. So final thoughts and what I think of its value, well, it's a very cool design and it's not something I vibe with, but that's just me because I have preferences for mice that I main. But aside from looks, the Sword X is an excellent ergonomic mouse that I enjoy using for gaming because of how it feels. The quality of the Magnesium build that you get for the price is not bad at all, and if the design speaks to you and you enjoy Magnesium mice, this is a very interesting one to check out. Anyway, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video or found it helpful in any way, please leave a like and subscribe to support the channel, and I guess I'll see you in the next one.